give you a little bit of an introduction, my name is Shivangi. I'm the community manager here at FilterPixel. And if you're new here, FilterPixel is an AI culling and editing software. So today we're doing Pixel Power Hour episode 6, and today we have with us Jane Goodrich, who's the founder of Pixello. Today we all know that we're using Instagram, we're using TikTok, Facebook so much, and some of us are so tired and overwhelmed with using it. Jumping on trends, still trying to figure out the algorithm, and still not able to figure it out because who knows. But Jane's here today to give us ideas on how we can focus on different avenues to get different channels to focus on for our photography business. We'll be talking about that as well as a few pricing tips like how to price yourself, how to go to higher pricing and still keep your clients happy. Okay, I've spoken enough. Now I'm going to let her on in and then we'll get started. Okay,
Hi,
hello.
thanks for
How
having
are you?
me. And thanks for everyone to be patient. It was a little bit of a time mix up, but we got there. We got there. And you did a great
Yeah.
job in describing Pixello. I will
Oh,
caveat that we are an all-in-one, and you can do everything on your phone except upload photos, because you can't really upload the photos. But yeah, it does
yeah.
give the freedom and flexibility to be able
Don't
to
want to do
run your
that.
business from the go, from when you're on the go. So thank you. And yes, I've been a photographer for over 13 years full time, for the longest time part time. But yeah, newborns, families, headshots are pretty much my specialty. But the reason why I created Pixello is I definitely saw a need for a supportive software that actually is really easy to use, to be able to use on the go, and an all-in-one login, because I don't
Yeah.
know if anyone else is like me that just doesn't like a million different logins. There are some great softwares out there, but I just have an aversion to having to log into many different places, plus actually be cheaper. So one of the benefits for us is we are an all-in-one and we have unlimited gallery storage. And my main passion is to help photographers run their business. And so on top of being the software, we also have Business Mastermind. We also have a calculator that will help photographers price themselves. And we also just have the guidance. It's very lonely starting a photography business. And so it's also, there's so much information nowadays. When I started in 2010, there was not the wealth of information. And it can be great, but it also can be really overwhelming. So and misleading sometimes. So we just want to make sure that photographers have that sort of almost guidance to really be successful. They started their business to do. So the business side is not obviously what photographers get into the photography business for. So we're here to help with that. So that's pretty much why we decided to start Pixello, and we are really excited. We've been growing really quickly, and so our our users are the best, I personally feel like, and so they definitely are using it, and we're seeing them make more money. So at the end of the day, they're seeing raising their prices, or they're just actually able to upsell easier without worrying about a code or anything. Everything's linked. So that was the goal of Pixello, and so we're starting to see that is happening. So we're really excited about that. But yes, we can talk marketing because I love marketing too. My background is also in marketing. So,
That's amazing. Like, what you say about Pexano, that users are growing and you can actually see people
mhm.
gaining money and like what they invested in getting out of it. Because I actually am seeing it here as well. It's not really, actually seeing your company grow, it's actually seeing a family or a community grow.
Right.
Because, you see them when they personally come to you and say, okay, this saved me so much time and, this has worked on this for me. So I would like
Yeah.
to know that
Last week
work.
I got Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Last week we got, I helped a few people with their pricing, and, actually getting them from unprofitable to profitable, and then actually them getting inquiries because their pricing was actually where it should be. And
Okay.
then them telling us their groceries. I mean, like, what better thing you can do? Like, and so it just
Yeah.
keeps me going. It's not easy, I'm sure to like launch a software, but that's what keeps me going, is knowing that we can actually really change lives. So just via a little software platform. So yeah, that's my
That's
passion.
amazing. That's amazing. Awesome. Okay, now I know we made them wait for too long, so we'll get started right into the topic. Do you want to just give them a brief about what we'll be talking about, like just in a line or two?
Oh, in a line or two, I think we decided that we were going to be talking some marketing and we're also talking a little bit pricing because it's also my passion. And so we just, anybody has any questions about marketing or pricing or just pop them in the chat because we're here to help. And I have some answers prepared, but I would really prefer it if it was actually, tailored to you, the audience who's
Yeah.
listening. That would be great.
No, absolutely. So if you have any questions, just pick Jane's brain because she's available now. And I've actually scrolled through a lot of Facebook groups as well as our community and taken out a few questions related to marketing as well as pricing problems people face when it comes to Instagram. And I know that because I'm managing social media. So it's like a raw experience that which where it's coming from. And pricing, I do have tons of questions as well. But we'll get started from your first favorite, which is the marketing portion. So let's get right into it. There's Instagram, TikTok. What are the alternative channels that you actually suggest that
Well,
we should explore?
I touched on a couple of other social media platforms other than TikTok and Instagram. Well, first of all, Threads. Did you have to sign up down that? First of all, Threads is a new, let's say, Twitter
Yeah,
competition by Meta. It's actually not bad. One thing, don't go down a rabbit hole like I do on every new social media app and you end up wasting time. But what I would do is I would first of all claim your profile, and then when you have time, just look around, see where the energy is going. It is not something that right now you are missing out on getting clients on. So just take a breath, and I'm telling that to myself. Take a breath. You're not missing out on anything, but just claim your profile. That's all. So somebody else doesn't get, Jane Goodrich photography. But then secondarily, there's Facebook. We're on Facebook. How can you utilize Facebook to its advantage? Obviously, we've seen a lot of less, 10 years ago when you had a Facebook post happening on your business page, a lot of people were, got a lot of engagement. Now you have none.
yeah,
One of the things I recommend to do is actually have a VIP Facebook group, which is just for your clients. It depends if you already have um, if you already have clients, then yes, start a VIP. If you don't have clients, it's one of the last things that I would do if you're just new. So once you start getting clients, you can work your VIP Facebook group by saying, hey, teasing something's coming up, then you can start getting, because the engagement on a VIP Facebook group is so much more than just posting on your profile. Um,
awesome.
and then I do know beyond social media, there's a million different things because I started my business prior to, I mean, Facebook was around, but none of the others were around. Um, and I know you had Kyle Goldie on last week, who is
Yeah,
the king of SEO and websites. So I will try not to repeat what he said, but if you didn't check that out, definitely check it out. But, the one thing, I won't go into too much detail, but your website is very important. SEO is very
yeah,
important, and local SEO is really important. I made the mistake of like hiring someone to help me with SEO, and I became national. And I'm really good at ranking how to photograph your newborn twins, but not like Westchester newborn photographer. So it really has to be local. So I'm sure he touched on it. But on
you
that
did.
note, there is a Google business profile you can start out with, even if you don't have a website. For example, our Pixelo users can still create a Google business profile with their link. And so you really want to start having, Google presence. You can update that once a week, with a new photo. And also tell me, Shivangi, if I'm repeating what Kyle said. I mean, I listened to a little bit of it. But also just one thing
Just
about,
go ahead because there are people
just
who
go
want
ahead.
to join at that
Okay,
time.
fine. I'll just go ahead. All
Go
right, I'll
ahead.
just talk for 4 hours. You don't want me to just go ahead because I will talk for 4 hours.
Okay.
But one of the things, and we can pop these in the link afterwards,
Yeah,
is to make sure that you utilize your Google business profile. But also, if you have a website, know that it's easy. Know that Google loves their other companies, right? So have a Google map on your website. Figure out how to put the Google map. Also, figure out how to put a YouTube video, and you don't have to create a whole different production of it. It could just be a slideshow video on your website. That will help ranking on Google. So we do have a couple of posts on that we can share in the group. But one of the things that I think is missing a little bit, and I know I think you actually have a question on this, so um, it's also about, and we can skip it. But one of the things that I feel like that really is missing is local business networking, and most photographers want to run away when you use the word networking, because I did. And what I found is I actually didn't treat it like networking. I actually treated it like, hey, I'm going to make a friend. So I actually play a game with myself, and I'm a mom. But even before I was a mom, as a newborn photographer, what I did was I tried to find like the vendors in my area that targeted my ideal client. For example, there was a newborn prenatal yoga place in my area. So I was like, hey, how can I help you with your business? And sort of, I always want to go in with how can I help you first versus gimme, 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 because that's just
Mhm.
not, I think that you're asking something from them, so I like to give first and then ask, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, so
Yeah.
there's could be a local kids music studio that brings in a ton of people from around the area, that you can say, hey, I can go photograph your class for social media, and then we can sort of share things. Or one of the things that I would do is do a roundup. If you're new to the area, do a Google search of the best pediatricians in the area. Start doing like little blog posts, and then sending an email to them saying, hey, you've been featured on my blog post. And then from that, share it to your social media and tag them in it. Keep commenting on their, it's free, right? You share, you like, you comment on them.
Yeah.
You're not asking for them for anything at the moment, but just really try and network, because then you're going to maybe find out somebody that really connects with you, and you can sort of have a really good friendship. Over the last 13 years, I've probably made, one of my friends, really good friends, is a realtor who ends up, being on all these mom blogs and like mom Facebook groups, and just recommends the craziness out of me. And I do the same for her if someone I see something. And a similar thing with a music studio, a kids
Yeah.
music class. Same thing with like a mom that runs a whole thing for twins. I'm a twin, so it became like I got known as a twin photographer, and we worked well together. Like, it's got to be a synergistic relationship. I did a lot of stuff where it was one way, me going forward, but at the end of the day, it takes time to build those brand advocates. And basically, it's making friends, and the ones that you're going to connect with are the ones that are going to help with. And even it could be the local restaurant that you go to. Make sure that you're
Yeah.
tagging them in something, people start
Mhm.
seeing of being like, hey, they're going to be searching for that same restaurant. You've taken some great photos. They'll be like, oh, who is Jane Goodrich Photography? And then it just, as long as you're sharing and giving and commenting, even writing Google reviews for places that you like, it
Yeah.
pays itself forward. I'm all about paying itself forward. So that's kind of that's sort of in terms of a networking question. um
Okay.
I sort of answered your networking question that you had. um so we can skip that one
Okay.
and
So,
go
okay,
ahead.
should we skip that one, or should I just like still go ahead and ask that, because you did sort of explain it, but I mean, there are a lot of newborn photographers, which
Yeah.
you were at that time, and maternity. And let's say I have a studio, and I'm just like getting my clients there, cake smash session, newborn session, maternity, right inside the studio. So I'm not even going to any other place to conduct those sessions per se. And that's where people do tend to ask a lot of questions, that who do I tag in this space, because when it comes to wedding photography, there are so many people. There are florists, venue, caterers, or planners, all of those things. But here it's just the person whom I just shot with, and then you can just hope that they'll go and reshare that on their profile. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, you would want to, for me, I do cake smashes, but I don't provide the cake for liability reasons. And A, I'm not going to bake
Hmm.
it, and B, just that additional time to go coordinate
Yeah.
it is like, I'm no, it's not worth it for me. But one of the things that
No.
you can do is you can find a local baker. There's so many in our area. Like, I end
Yeah.
up, if I had a really elaborate cake, I would tag them. I would also ship. Then what you can do is you can
Mhm.
do printed brochures in their shop of like, hey, this is a cake smash or birthday, session. They're going to go there for birthday cakes. They're going to go there for events, or if they have cupcakes. And so you could have great images around that shop of your artwork. Similar thing with a bookstore or anybody. It doesn't necessarily have to be tagged in social media. It can just be a
Yeah.
connection in person of like, hey, how can I, connect with you? Similar thing. I mean, like a naked baby, there's nobody else except the family, but you can still work with prenatal yoga studios. You can work with, to get the referrals, doulas, lactation consultants. I have a lot of people that have I see a lot of moms that have postpartum, so I refer them after my shoot for a postpartum. But then what happens is they love me and they refer me to their friends or their clients that are pregnant. And also, it's not really for that, it's just to make sure that my clients are okay. And then they'll come back at the sitter session. And I think it's just making sure that you are surrounding yourself with reputable businesses that you feel comfortable enough to recommend. Whether or not it's going to come back to you as an immediate shoot or not, it doesn't really matter. As long as it's good for your client, that's what I think. But that's just me.
Absolutely. And in the end, like, talking all this just explains that marketing is like a big egg, and
It's a big
all of these are
pizza.
just
It's a puzzle. It's a piece of a puzzle, and everything is a little bit. And you could end up being a really good referrer to the cake person, and they might not necessarily be good to you, but then your music studio could be a really good referrer to you, but you're not necessarily to them, but you can be sharing on social media. And so all it is if the energy is out there that you are giving as
yeah.
much as you can without giving away the world. I'm not going to give like free sessions out of the galore because I'm a business, and same thing, I don't expect these businesses to do that too. But it helps when you are on a local Facebook mom group having a few other people to ask, hey, can you tag me in that post? And so it's all, again, it's all about making friends. These people are my friends now after it. So
Absolutely.
that's just,
Got it. Got it. Okay. So networking was one, and
yep.
can we move over to the second one, which I have, like, you can go ahead and explain that, and then I'll have a follow-up question for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which was the second ones. Was it email marketing? I think we had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so email marketing. I personally think email marketing is extremely important, and so a lot of photographers start out, and it's to no fault of their own. It's easy, right, to get leads via instant message, DMs. You're
Yeah.
not collecting contracts or anything like that. But I think that one of the things that we can do is really start to collect those email addresses. It's easy in Pixello, but you could even have a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Then what you can do is bulk email them upcoming sessions. You're on my VIP list, making sure that your current clients and even your friends and family are feeling that they're getting first dibs on your sessions. Because what will happen is then they're like, oh, I'm getting first dibs before it's released. And what you do, your email first, VIP group, you can do email versus VIP depending on how many people are on it. But then it gets released to social media. But you give them a day or two to grab the sessions because it's creating a sense of urgency. If you don't have
Okay.
an email list, what you can do is either on your Facebook page or on your website is create some form of pop-up, which is, you're going to get a lot more visitors to your website than you do get inquiries. So what you can do is say, top 10 tips to get your newborn to sleep, right? I've had that, and you get a lot of people being like, yes, I want that, right? Or top 10 outfit choices for your family photo shoot. Anything that is very relevant to your audience. You don't want to be like, top 10 cars of 2024, like, then it's not going to be relevant.
Yeah.
But something that's relevant, because then what you can do is then they can become a part of your email list. I don't really like doing, there is some people that do contests, enter your email to win. What happens is those tend to be price shoppers or like bargain hunters. So I'm all about trying to build your business so it's sustainable. I mean, I think after year 3 or 4, my fall season was booked, right? So I don't have to worry about my fall season. All my repeats, they're going to come back. I want photographers to not, especially in newborn, they grow with me. If I'm a wedding photographer, it's a little bit different because, but then you could have a really good referral program through the bridesmaids. But you really want to think about, you don't want to be chasing this right now. If you're early stages, you're going to be chasing the rat race of like, I'm going to get clients. But okay, well, let's make sure that energy of you trying to get
Yeah.
clients is going to work long term for you. So that's kind of my caution of doing some of those promotions that you see of giveaways, is because that person will then likely go to the next giveaway, if that makes any sense.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Like, they'll wait for another giveaway for, like,
Hmm.
maybe the next one will come next month
Yeah,
or around this
right.
occasion, so they'll wait for that. Yeah, I understand. So I do know a lot of people who are, let's say, plan, especially for newborn and below as well, who planning to, like, let's say, create VIP groups for their customers because they feel comfortable posting there, and that's one way to, of course, go forward. But they always get stuck at what should I post there, because apart from contests or giveaways, or you just mentioned, or sales, or let's say few spots that they need to snatch at that particular moment, what else can be posted there for your clients?
So for example, if it was my group, I mean, I'm not a boudoir photographer, but what happens is I will use my friend who I know has a boudoir group as an example. Is it's all about creating community, so they feel special about being in your group, and they are with like-minded women. And it can be anything from like, hey, I'm a plus size woman, I'm going out on a date night, what can I wear, like it basically inviting the safe space,
Okay.
especially for boudoir.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, like, even have I've seen it, I mean, a couple of my friends, I'm like, I don't know. But even if it's like I'm having an argument with my spouse, like,
Yeah.
what can I say back? Or like, like it. And for me, for newborn, mine is a newborn and family VIP group. And mine was like, any tips on where to go? It's raining this weekend, right?
Mhm.
Where would you want to go this weekend? Like, what can I do with Emma? And then what happens is, I have a child, then they have like, hey, my daughter knows, my daughter likes DIY slime that's
Yeah.
down the street. Yeah, that's an indoor place, or pop in or something. So what it does is it humanizes you as a person, but it also brings everybody together as
Got
a
it.
small community. And they feel like, I've had people being like, I'm going to be a Jane Goodrich VIP, and that's it. Like, because I'll have them on the first. I was like, why? But like, for some reason, they feel a part of like a like-minded group,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it. And if you end up, I really have not. I've been very good with my radar of my clients. I end up becoming friends with my clients on Facebook, and
Mhm.
I personally think that. I mean, I don't post anything political or anything, and I found that to me being like a real big game changer, because they see my daughter grow up, they see me human, and they're like, oh, I see, Emma. I had to kind of reduce the amount of times I posted. I was doing a happy Monday, and then in town, I'd run into a client and they would say, oh, I feel like I know you. And she's
Yeah.
like, what? And so I had to kind of like curb that. But I think what it does is they really humanizes you. And during COVID, I got some, I mean, I can cry just thinking about it. I got some people saying, what can I do? Like, and it was nothing to do, like it was from a guy who, his wife booked this session, but he was like, what can I do to help you? And I was like, it makes it feel like a family. And so similar to like yours, FilterPixel family, like my VIP group, even though it's been neglected for a little bit, um, as I haven't been able to shoot as much, but it really does bring your community together. I hope that makes any
No,
sense.
no,
But it's like, it's any questions that you have, right? Like, I mean, is what you feel
yeah.
comfortable sharing with your clients, ask. It's like, hey, my kid is afraid of the dentist. Does anyone have it's local. It's like creating your own little group.
Yeah.
And then I've had people say,
Absolutely.
like, yeah. And similar thing to my boudoir friend, my boudoir photographer friend, she has like, where can I go get plus size bras? And so other people are like, hey, I've blah 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 blah. I found this person, or like,
Absolutely.
what outfit, So I think you can just post whatever your clients the best, and
Exactly. Yeah.
so that's kind of my thoughts on that, if that makes any sense.
Got it. And it's super helpful because everybody in the group is almost at the same stage of life. Like let's say newborn, because they're new parents,
Hmm.
and they're almost every time going through the same stuff. So it definitely helps them get through and gives them that space to actually come and interact, and they'll know that this is my kind of person because they're dealing with the same thing.
Well, and also, like, as newborn photographer, I've probably photographed over 1,000 babies, and I've seen one thing about, yeah, and I love my newborns, but I'm in New York. I've seen all sorts of cultures, and that's the best part, is I've seen different cultures and how they handle it. And so,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I've seen the pressure on new moms exponentially increase over the last 5 years, and COVID did not help it. And so, as newborn photographers, I feel we can help release that stress and say it's okay. And by the way, Dad, you need to change the diaper. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm English. I can get away with it being Mary Poppins, and I'm also a lot older than them now. So it's like they just listen to me. They're like, "Thanks for telling him to change the diaper." But anyway, so it's just me.
Okay. Got it. Okay, so we have networking, we have email marketing, and we also have a Facebook VIP group. Any other channels that you would recommend apart from our social media that we're talking about right now?
Well, I would say, again, it's your website. It's also, like you can
Yeah,
do
right.
Pinterest. And I think Pinterest is, depending on where you are, you can actually use
Mhm.
Pinterest, but I would recommend your website be done first and you've got a good
Okay.
blogging strategy going. You've got your keywords,
Mhm.
your image words gone, and then you can use Pinterest to come up as your images on local search. But we also, and we can post it here. We have a good blog post on Pinterest for photographers. And so that's one of the things that I would say is like, okay, you have to focus on your website first and then you can get on Pinterest, because it will help you, but you need to have, and also those are all sort of the free places, although time is money. You can do
Yeah.
Google ads and Facebook ads. That would take me about another hour to talk about. We do have a Facebook ads for photographers blog post coming soon as a Google ads, but Google keeps changing. So it's like one of those things. By the time we write it, it's completely changed. And it's fun. It's
It
like
has.
just go to Google and just like to take their class. But there are some tips on that if anyone has any questions on that. And vendor shows, direct mail, print ads. You still can do the old school stuff. Don't recommend you do what I did and spent way too much money on print because people are now going to the website. But that was my
Okay.
mistake. Um, and then I think you have a question on how do you measure the success and the ROI of these marketing. And
Yeah.
again, you can go to Google Analytics. You go to your Google page, the G4.
Mhm.
I hope Kyle covered that. And you can actually see where your traffic is coming from on your website.
Mhm.
And also, if you don't have a actual website, or if you don't have, you can still add lead form of like, how did you hear about me? It's really
Okay.
important to figure out, like, for example, on Pixel's contact form, you can have how you can hear about me. And so
Mhm.
is it Google? Is it Facebook? And you know which target. Is it from a friend? Because you might have a referral program that is going really well and people are referring you like crazy, and you have a referral program that's, you have to track. So that's really good. You can have a contact form. And then I find that on a shoot, like if I have no idea where they came from, they haven't filled it out,
Okay.
I can ask them on the shoot, right? Because at the end of the day, those are the ones that I want to know. I don't really want to know if, I mean, I do want to know if I'm getting a bunch of inquiries that aren't booking. But at the end of the day, I want to know which ones are booking and I can ask them on the shoot date. I talk a lot, as you can tell, so I can never do mini sessions. But so I do. I like, how'd you hear about me? And they're like, oh, it was my friend so and so. And I was like, you never even told me that, and she never even told me that you were coming. But it's just really good. A lot of information comes out on the
Okay.
shoot, so you can really
Mhm.
use it. Be like, hey, how'd you hear about me? I'm just curious, and that's what I would say for that. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. While you did mention Pinterest as maybe the last channel that we should target after we have a website and SEO set, I do have a follow-up question on Pinterest, which is I believe it is still a bit less explored, but on
Hmm.
the other end, I've heard a lot of photographers have huge success stories from it because I do believe this, and this is only because when you're going to Instagram, you're just going with an intent of scrolling and just getting into the app, not really with an intention to buy something. But when you're going on Pinterest, you're actually going with an intention to search a particular thing and maybe get something similar to that. So that's
Well,
what, like, maybe the
yes.
intent differs. I
Well,
think it can be helpful.
so what I
Yeah.
find and this is, I will caveat, I'm not a Pinterest expert, just from someone that's
Yeah.
used it for 13 years for my business. So one
Mm-hmm.
of the things that I found is photographers who actually use it for inspiration. So they're going on there to sort of like, especially newer photographers, see poses, see this. Our clients are going on there to also look for poses and also look for inspiration. The one thing
Exactly.
they are looking at is, if they're typing in, Westchester newborn photographer, they'll come in and they'll see it. So you want to have your blogs that are called Westchester Newborn Photographer, the blog post that then does link to Pinterest. Don't do what I did and just link pictures and then put the thing, because it doesn't go anywhere. So that's why I say to have your blog sort of strategy that up and running, and then you can do Pinterest, and you can
Okay.
do it in a little different way. But one thing I love, it does come up in Google search terms as images. So then you have to be careful on, really, well, not careful, just sort of like be conscious of how you label your images. So get all those keywords in there. When you export from Lightroom, name it Westchester Newborn Photographer, and then it will, it's in Pinterest and it's on your blog. It's gonna start ranking, depending on your area. But make sure that not your images are not all named the same, because then they compete against each other. So, but yeah, we do
Okay.
have a Pinterest blog that will have the ultimate guide to helping you with it. So,
I just shared that in the comment section, so that's up. Even I need to like check it out properly. But
yeah.
okay. Awesome. Okay, okay, awesome. So, does anybody have any question when it comes to marketing beyond social media or even social media as such? Anything, just shoot away. I have a feeling our comments are not singing because I do see more here.
Bring it. I'm going to answer. Come on.
Okay. In the meantime, what we'll do is we'll start with our game because it's almost halftime.
Okay.
And I'm actually just seeing on Facebook and I am realizing few of our comments aren't syncing. So I'll just check that in the meantime.
Okay.
But are you ready for the game?
I am. I know this game. I've seen it.
You've
You're
come
going to
prepared.
trick me.
Okay. The pictures won't be the same, don't worry.
I know. I was writing down which ones I can just see when you
Oh my
understand.
god, you were.
I know.
I did
I
not
like to do my prep.
I did not expect you to come prepared for this at least.
I've
Okay.
seen it. I
I
was kidding.
All right. Okay. So you know what it is, but I'll still just say it out for everybody. Okay. So everyone will be showing Jane two pictures, one of which is edited by the photographer himself manually, and the other one will be edited by our AI, which is FilterPixel Edits. We recently launched FilterPixel Edits last month, and this is sort of a sneak peek or preview that we're just showing here. But it's also available for you to try out for absolutely free, so if, in case you want to. Okay. And Jane, if you lose, which I have a feeling you won't because you've come
I
prepared.
will lose. I don't care. It just depends on which one I want to win. And then they're
Okay.
like, well, I wanted the photographer to win. It's okay.
Okay. If you lose, there's actually a dare that you need to do. And now I'll get started. And everybody in the comments as well, just keep on telling me which one do
I
you
need
think.
everybody to tell me, because my
Yeah.
eyesight sometimes.
Awesome. Just say left or right. Okay. I'm getting started. Okay. There you go.
Okay,
I
it's
can
coming
see you
in.
checking, not referring.
Mm-hmm. Left is AI.
Okay. 1 second. I was just checking out. Left is AI. Okay. Huh. Where did all the preparation go? Okay. And all right, it's one FP. There you
Well,
go.
no. So now I'm thinking that photographer wanted something else, and they wanted a brighter white, and that's not fair. But it's okay. I'm a sore loser. Okay. I mean, again. Oh, was this for? Okay. Question: was this
Yeah.
from the same photographer?
Yeah, it is from the same photographer. So all the four photos, I'll have to check the third one, but all the four photos are by Dominique. He also has an expert profile on FilterPixel edits. So won't say which
All
one.
right.
One of
So
it is done by
then
himself.
I'm going to go with the right is. Did I? Oh, I forgot.
Oh, okay.
The right one is Filter Pixel.
Study the photographer.
Oh,
Okay.
totally. Yeah. The right one. Please be right.
Okay. And you're wrong.
Ah, I can't get it. This
It's
is
okay.
okay.
Why did you say so? Is it because it's the
Well, because he edited slightly lighter with the wedding dress,
okay?
and he didn't on this one. Oh, did he? I'm going
It's
confused.
okay. It's
Just
okay. I'll
ignore
give
me.
it to the third one.
Oh
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. I was yes. So now he's confusing me in his edit style. Oh goodness. All right.
Here's the
So
third
if
one.
I
Yeah. Give this a shot. Okay.
the one on the left is edited by Filter Pixel.
One on the left. Okay. Let's check. And you're
Maybe
right.
I'm wrong. Oh,
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. Just give me a second. I'm checking the comments in the meantime. Okay.
I
Yeah.
hope everyone else is at a 30%
Yeah.
hit
You have
rate.
to. Awesome.
Okay, so I'm
The last
learning his
one.
style now. Okay. Oh gosh, come in. It's a little blurry. All right.
Uh, is it blurry now as well?
No, it takes a little bit.
Okay.
I am going to go with the one on the right is FilterPixel.
FilterPixel.
FilterPixello. So I'm so used to saying it.
Okay, right one. You're right.
Yes. I learned. I can learn.
That's a draw. Okay. Amazing. Now you actually got to try it out. That's what happens
No, I
whenever
have tried it. Yeah, I've tried it out. So no,
you
for me, I was
have.
like,
Okay.
yeah, no. So I'm like, no, he wants a little bit more contrast in the edit in the dress. So from me winning the other one, and I was like, I'm gonna take that one, and then sorry, yeah,
Okay.
I overanalyze the editing. Trust me. So
Okay. Thank you for playing
very
this.
very close, very close.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the idea. Like, we've been playing this game and everybody just goes up in the screen and be like, okay, which one's edited by and which one's actually edited manually because they're so close. And for the first few lives that I did, I used to forget that which one's which. Then I had to actually just remember the number, like the sequence to go through. So
I don't know.
and
It was
and
the same to me.
yeah, it's the same surprise that you have. Like, okay, which one will it be? I have the same one, like scrolling through the next because it looks so similar while you're like just checking it out again. So
Yeah, I'd
see.
have to like
Okay.
do some
Okay.
analysis of it. So it's kind of
Okay.
fun.
Thank you so much, Lane, for joining. Lane's actually here. She's saying great info. I cannot display her comments for some reason. Even Ayush is here. He says hi, Jane. And okay, we will move over to the next part. In the meantime, if people have any questions coming in for marketing and pricing, I believe everybody can ask them in the end. Now, I'll move over to a few questions for pricing. And, I see 10 posts per day in every Facebook group that I am a part of, where everyone's just starting out or still confused whether they're pricing their session as they should be priced. So coming to this question is my first question is what are the factors that should be considered when it comes to pricing your photography services?
How long do we have?
um,
So you only see 10? Man, that's in 10 minutes. So
yeah,
this is one of, yeah, I'm being sarcastic, is a lot. This is one of the things that sort of really spurred me on to start the calculator because there's a lot of misinformation. And I kind of sort of say, you know, just because somebody else says, oh, yeah, that sounds great, you have no idea of their business model, or you have no idea how much they need to make, where they live, or if they're an amazing salesperson. So it's really difficult. It's a very private thing. So that's one of the things why we did create our calculator.
yeah,
It has like 4+ years of global research for photographers that have been in business over 4 years, because we've noticed that right now it's actually like usually a 3 year turning point of where you get profitable, which
okay,
it can actually be profitable a lot sooner, which is what we're trying to help photographers do. But again, it's simple. It's your costs, it's your time, and it's what you need to make. So we hear a lot, well, I'm in a rural area or I'm in this. It's like, it doesn't matter, right? So, like, I will say, I'm going to explain it, but we will pop the calculator into the chat. Please feel free to sign up and definitely try the calculator because it's made it so easy. Not every person gets into photography businesses to figure out their costing and their pricing because I mean, I find it difficult, and I have an MBA, so I have an accountant. So, but your costs, I will say, people come in and there aren't any costs, right? So one of the things is that really people don't understand is you will have more costs, right? For example, I have a computer, I have a camera. Well, that camera will die. And that computer will die within probably 2 or 3 years, if not sooner. And your time is money. So, how are you going to pay for future costs, right? So you also you're a wedding photographer, you need a backup camera, you need lenses, you need lots of batteries. So like there's so much stuff. Like you need an annual budget for gear replacement.
right.
For what I did, but my dad's also a professor of business, so I got a little bit of a cheat, is I allocated a certain amount each month for replacement value of my computer.
Okay.
So I was lucky that when that died, I didn't have a massive cost. I will say right now, Apple, as a small business owner, you can actually, and I'm not a shell for them, I just think it's an amazing thing. You can actually lease an Apple
Yeah.
computer, and it's such a lesser monthly outcome.
Mhm.
And I've actually got mine and it's coming up for lease. And and I was like, great, I get a brand new one. And because realistically, you're going to go through them 3 or 4 years with the amount of Lightroom needs this update and this, and Sony has 89 million megabytes of, your computers are not going to last as long as you think they're going to last. In the camera cleaning, memory cards, batteries, off camera flash, I can list all this: lighting, props, gear rental. This is just the gear. Top desktops, screen calibrator, external hard drives, a server if you need one, backdrop stands, even use tax on these, session attire if you are having branded and miscellaneous equipment. If you have a studio, there's all that costs: rent, electricity, utilities, signage,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Newborn photographers, there's a lot of things that newborn photographers go into. Safety training, equipment is, just the beanbag alone can be like $700. Wraps,
God,
props,
okay.
so much stuff. I could list off this. It's all included in our calculator. But there's office supplies, marketing, like any sort of formal, like business
Mhm.
cards, every single thing that you are spending with your business, you need to account for. And then there's also software subscriptions like FilterPixel and Pixello, but even actions and presets and website hosting, your domain name. I'm giving everyone a heart attack now, and I'm sorry, but it really does need to factor into your pricing, including
Correct.
taxes, bookkeeping. You can actually outsource this. So one of the things, some of this stuff is like so overwhelming. Like, I'm pretty good with numbers. I am not a tax accountant. And I think you had Tiffany on a couple of weeks
We,
ago.
we
It's like
did. We did. Yeah.
job number one, hire an accountant and not a bookkeeper. Like that's just number one. It's like that they will save you money. I
Mhm.
just with the amount that they cost. You will save money because they're worth their weight in gold.
And you can
If I
also
could
write it off.
you can write it off, but two, they keep up with the laws. We don't, and even you go
Exactly.
to
Exactly.
TurboTax. Sales tax for photographers has changed 3 times in my state, and luckily my accountant knows that, right? And so, change of sales tax can really impact you if you haven't been collecting it, and then you should have been, and then you get fined. It's
Mhm.
just, it's a headache. I don't want to think about it. I've got way too much to do. Outsource it. Legal fees, business card, insurance, like education,
Yeah.
you know, all of that stuff, and then it doesn't include your income. So you have to figure out what income you need to make. Running a
Mhm.
small business, likely you won't be getting healthcare or in the US, dental insurance, long-term life, anything.
Yeah.
No insurance, no pension, no retirement. Got to figure out how are you going to retire as a small business owner and pay for childcare, all of that stuff. And as well as business taxes. And in the US, you have federal, state, local, and self-employment tax. So again, you discussed it all with Tiffany, but there's a lot of things that go into this, and again, same with cost of goods sold, but also the time it takes you. So one of the things that we did within our study is a time study, and so what we did was trying to find out how long it physically takes you to run your business, not just the shoot and not just the edits. So the social media, the training, the prep for the shoot, like the
Okay.
washing of the newborn props and cleaning of your studio.
Mhm.
What does that entail, right? Like all of that time traveling, dealing with inquiries, your marketing. And so our ratio, it used to be in 2010, we found a study, 2011 was for every 1 hour of a shoot, it was 9 hours of back end work. Now it's close to 12. So you need to figure out the time. And then again, income what you need to make. But I would definitely say it's all included on the back end of Pixella's calculator. So don't have a heart attack. You can just go onto Pixella. It's a free trial. Log in there, figure out what you need to make. I will say, be realistic because I've done a lot of I've done a lot of consultations where they've gone from making minus 20 to
Mhm.
wanting to clear 150K and being like, how can I get to this? And I was like, well, you can step tier it, but you can also start just making a profit. Let's get you to 30,000, let's get you to 50, and then let's get you to 150. So we want to make sure that you're all, photographers are being realistic about what you can actually charge for as well. And so, but we're here to help. Like that's my goal, is like it's so overwhelming to figure out pricing, which is why we did the calculator. And it's included in Pixello. So that's our goal. is to make sure that every photographer makes money from doing what they love.
Doing what you love,
So
exactly. I mean, absolutely, because when you're starting out, all you have in mind is that, I love photography. I love, let's say, capturing newborns. And, per session, it's going to take me 1 hour, and then it's going to take me 3 hours to cull as well as edit, 4 hours. Okay, I'm done. And,
right,
that's how they tend to price themselves, thinking, okay, it's just going to take 4 hours of my work.
right.
But
But
all
it's also running the business side portion, and
yeah.
then it's also costs and it's
I mean,
future costs.
before that
It's
as
hard.
well, to actually get that client, the marketing that you're doing, all the
Hmm.
graphics that you're putting out, everything that you're doing in order to land up to that one session is what that often goes missed. Because then they
Hmm.
think like, that's what I get out of the session, that's what the client is supposed to pay. But not
Right.
the other factors and of course the other costs that you just listed out, because that just go, okay, yeah, this is just, what I have to do for my business.
Yeah.
But
I mean, one of the
yeah,
things I found that is if you can take, because photographers, we tend to name our businesses our names, right?
yeah,
Mine's
yeah.
Jane Goodrich Photography.
Hmm.
What it is like breaking out that mindset. My biggest tip is to break out the mindset of it's not you charging, it's actually a business because your business has costs and your
Mhm.
business pays you for your time after the costs. So, you can say my studio or my business, and rather than like I charge, just if you can like really get that mindset away of being like, it's actually my business that charges this. And I'm going to probably make a small portion if I'm lucky from it. So that's my tip for photographers that are struggling with like, I can't charge that. Well, you're not actually charging it. Your business is charging that. So I hope that helps. But
It does. Okay. So I do like, while we're talking about, let's say, pricing hourly, or let's say pricing just as per the session, I know this was the last question that I had from you, but I actually saw a Facebook thread which was a bit old, but it said that, a person just started doing photography, or let's say has been doing for 3 to 5 years, and they used to price their cake smash, or it was actually, I'm forgetting what kind of okay, it was a baby shower. It was a baby shower session, and they used to like, price it on a per hour rate. Let's say if it's going to take, they take $30 per hour, and it's going to take 4 hours. Okay, that's it. But when they end up there, they just see it as a luxurious baby shower party at which the client has spent $30,000, and this is exclusive of the photographer and other minor expenses that are there. And then, of course, the person flips, thinking that, should I still charge my hourly rate? And then I just check out the thread, and people are arguing that, you should go ahead and charge the hourly rate, because in the end, you're doing the same work that you would have done at any other baby shower. But on the other end, there are people saying, you've worked hard to refine your craft in a certain way, and that is why you ended up here. And of course, scope of work should be discussed on the consulting and the discovery call itself. That's a different topic altogether. But just talking about, should you charge the hourly rate, or should you just get a one particular rate for a particular event? What should you go with here?
well, one, I think everyone charges differently, right? So if
Yeah.
you're an event photographer, it's completely different if you're a newborn photographer, right? So if they're doing a baby shower, are they going to be charging? Is there going to be a significant amount of work that's different? Just because they're paying $40,000 for this doesn't mean you're going to be taking any different photos, right?
Exactly.
If they come out with like now it's like you see oh, it's an event and now it's a wedding, right? Completely different story, because now you have different like pressures and different
Yeah.
like lighting and different like completely different. But if it's the shot list that you've discussed is the same shot list, doesn't matter how much they've spent on it. And like that, what I made the mistake of when I actually used to do birthday parties. I'm gonna have anxiety over it now. I used to do kids birthday parties, and I did make the mistake. It was probably year 2, year 3 into my career, and it was a twins 1-year birthday party, and it was a religion that actually made a huge deal out of it. And it was like I showed up and there was like 250 people there, and I was like, oh, I wish I'd have brought an assistant, but that was the only thing I thought of. I was like, no, this is cool. I'm gonna get some great shots because the place is
Yeah.
amazing. But it was all I did was all I changed that was some of things are learning experiences. It was like, oh, how many people are going to be there? Where is it? So I can scope out the location. And if there's 250 people, I know I'm going to need a second shooter to get all
Yeah.
the guests, right?
Yeah.
That's it. But I think you can't, if you've signed a contract with somebody and you're going to basically get the same images. You can't, unless they've said, I need you for extra time because this is
Mhm.
big, or you know that you need extra time because there's a lot more. You want to be able to prevent it. But I think we all have that first one, be like, because I wish I'd have had an assistant. I just ended up running around like crazy. But I know that in future. So you just sort of have to have a lesson learned. And
Mhm.
one question in terms of, I think you did have this as the last question, is like how people can actually raise their
Yeah.
prices.
Yeah. Right.
So one of the things that it if they're existing clients and they're referrals, it depends on where you start, right? So if you're
Mhm.
just doing model calls and you're starting out, I still expect a photographer to run their cost of doing business and
Yeah.
figure out, okay, once I do this full time and I've got my portfolio, I'm going to be charging $1,000 a shoot. So these model calls or these family calls, I'm going to send them a contract that says $1,000, but you get 100% off. I want
Okay.
them to know what value they're getting. Just
Mhm.
because I'm new and I'm getting, getting free photos, because what I don't want them to think, oh, I'm cheap. But I also would recommend new photographers not post in every single Facebook group, because you do not want to have the reputation of being new and being cheap, because you want to then use those Facebook groups. Use your friends, use your family, and if you can do
Okay.
it offline where you'll, to build
Mhm.
up your model call. So we do have another blog post on how to build up your portfolio. But I'm one of the things is when I had a situation where I had to really reevaluate my costs. And my
Okay.
costs were, they're pretty good. I've always ran my cost of doing business, except a couple of things. One was a baby's first year package. I didn't realize, one, I wasn't strict enough and still let them do it after 2.5. And I was like, no more. Like, baby's first year within the first 14 months. I'll let you make sure your kid's standing, because that was a couple of things. And
Okay.
then I have a travel fee. I'm out of New York City, but I had a travel fee. So when I had my daughter, and I was like, whoa, this is like 3 hours additional babysitting. And I have $50 parking, 50. So I ended up increasing a travel fee to $200 to make sure that I was like, it was worth it. My clients, most of them didn't notice. And the ones that did, they asked me, and I wrote back and I said, here are all the costs that are associated with my business. I'm sorry that if it's not able to meet your needs, I will try and find a photographer near you. But
Yeah.
they all booked. I said, I just want to be able to continue to be doing this as a living and make money from it. And I was
Right.
honest with them. And
Yeah.
so they're asking about costs. I feel like it's pretty okay to ask about costs. This whole, they should just pay what we're worth. They don't know. Like, they have a phone on their camera. They don't know.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about
Exactly.
how hard it is to run a photography business, because they just see the end result. So part of me is like trying to, like, part of Pixello too is trying to say, hey, it's actually a business. It's not just a hobby, and it's not just something that you click a button and, okay, maybe I'll
Yeah. Yeah.
click a preset on it. It's a lot of work. So
Exactly.
that's one of the things. And some people, we have a blog post on how to raise your prices without pissing off your clients.
Okay.
And you can keep your clients, right? You
Mhm.
just might put them at non-peak times, or you might just put them on a, hey, I want to use them as a model call because they're an amazing client. And I have one client that I do that with. Every
Okay.
fall, she kicks off my clients because she'll say, where do you want? And then, like, tell me what the kids should wear. And I was like, okay, you just energize me every year. So I do that. So there's ways and means of doing it.
Mhm.
And sometimes you might have to lose a lot of clients that are price shoppers. And so that's when you have to work on your website, like Kyle said, and, really get to be ranking number one on Google versus,
To get new
Facebook.
inquiries. Yeah, right.
Hmm. Yeah.
Got it.
And work. So cool.
Awesome. I'm going to link this blog as well. Okay. I am done with all the questions from my end. I'm just checking out the comment section. You're not able to see it here for some reason because Facebook's
I
just stopped.
know.
Yeah. So I'm just checking it out here. Okay. And I'm just leaving out Pixello's website as well as blog too. I just want to add here that, apart from being a great product that Pixello is, I have been in touch with their team, with Jane, with Heather, and I know these are like very supportive people as well who built a great product, no doubt. So I would definitely ask you to check this out because I know it is really good and, try it out for yourself and then see how it works out for you because I
Yeah.
always been trying out the stuff and then seeing if it's for you or not. My recommendations definitely help. Like that is why we have trial for FilterPixel, and I'm sure Jane also has a trial. Jane, is there a trial for Pixel? I'm sorry, I'm not aware about that.
Yeah, there's a 14-day trial, and sometimes we know people get busy. So if you're like, hey, I didn't get around to it because my kid was sick or whatever, we can extend it. But 14-day trial. But I also think I think I sent you that there is a FilterPixel code for
Yes, yes, there is.
20% off. And we
Okay,
do
okay.
have within the annual plan, we also have a business mastermind because we know that it is really difficult to run a business. And so one thing we're trying to do is build a community around talking about the business side and really helping photographers where they are at, and figuring out how we can help in other ways than just the software. So the definitely recommend we have a few people that have been doing this a while and they just love the business mastermind, and they're converting over slowly to Pixello, but they've also been on the same software for a while, but they just love the business mastermind. So they're like, it's worth it to me for just the business mastermind. I was like, okay, fine. So yeah, we definitely want to make sure that everyone is profitable at the end of the day and that photographers are valued for what they do. So that's our number one goal.
Awesome. Ours too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea actually. That's the honest goal, that you get to do what you initially started out to do, what you actually love, and also save time on the way using such
Yep.
smart tools, so you can actually spend time with your family, which was your initial goal, and that is why you started doing photography or started
Yeah.
actually owning your own business.
Yeah,
That's
that's
great.
true.
Amazing. I've added the link as well. So if anybody wants to check out Pixello as well as the blog has some mind-blowing resources. Like I keep on referring back to it a lot of time. So whatever we discussed today, there's actually a blog on it, because I don't know how Jean does it, but she has a blog on literally every topic that you need information on. So there's a blog as well linked that you can find, and there's also the website in case you need to check out Pixello too, and of course a discount link. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah, we've definitely been hearing the people that are trying out FilterPixel are really enjoying it. So, and again, it's like some place with a good community and that really helps support photographers. So we appreciate being here and thank you for having us.
Amazing. Thank you for giving me your time, giving us your time. This was an amazing session. We're going to wrap up now. And if they have any questions, I'm sure they can just tag you in the comment section, or I'll keep
Yeah,
on relaying them to you as well. I know you're in the group too. So you can tag Jane, you can tag me in case you need any.
definitely tag
Yeah.
me because I
She can.
get, otherwise I don't see it. I can't see it. I am like trying, I get overwhelmed with many
Oh
different
no, don't worry.
emails and, so tag
Don't
me.
worry.
And
Yeah.
if tag me again, if I don't respond.
Head over to filterpixel.com where you can sign up and get started now.